Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Shaw Flowers Facts. Each unit in this building has a wall-mounted air conditioner, mounted slightly below the living room windows. When I charge my phone, I usually place it on the indoor cabinet of the air conditioner. Close to the air conditioner, there is also a nearby plug into which I have a surge protector for additional devices. Michael, who sometimes stays in Myra's unit for months at a time, returned on 1/16/26. It was a few days later, while I was charging my phone and stood by our window to check it, that Michael gave me one of his challenging glares as he walked up the stairs. And in a tone that was trying to reflect a poor tolerant me who's being harassed again, said to Myra, "Our neighbors are acting a little crazy." When we say these people have no boundaries, this obviously reflects a thick-skinned hypocrisy that is very disturbing to us on several levels. To think this was coming from someone whose behavior was that of a depraved psychopath in front of Myra's door, on her balcony, and while making humping motions into our security camera, not to mention someone who should be investigated for falsifying evidence. Soon after his remark, Myra went out, and Michael blasted music through our walls for several hours. The miniature device we used does not do justice to the level of his blasting music. However, at one point, a neighbor stopped by our door and, referring to the loud music coming from Myra's unit, said to Terry, "Is that her?" Terry replied, "Yes, we live with that all the time." The neighbor then said, "I will call management as soon as I get back upstairs." We have a video of the neighbor saying this, and I will post it. We also sent this same video to Jay. At least before, this neighbor was not particularly in our favor. On the night of the gang up, he told us not to involve him, and Eric took that as an opportunity to try to get him to align against us. Yet, that day, when the same neighbor commented on the loud music, Eric called the police to his unit so he could once again further his narrative that we harassed Myra, while also getting a police business card to give to Jay, who is now using Eric as a witness for our eviction. It was only by happenstance that Terry was by our door when the neighbor mentioned the music. Countless times before, at all hours of the day and night, Myra's music was loud like that, and even louder, and everyone could hear it, but we were the only ones who had to hear it through our wall. And that's why Eric said if the music was that bad, he could hear it from where he is. Eric knows very well that, in actuality, he wouldn't tolerate 1 minute of what we have had to tolerate for years. Several hours later that day, the police knocked on Myra's door. At that point, Michael had turned on the music, and when he opened the door to the police, he said hi in a very friendly manner, as if he were welcoming an expected guest. And even though he had turned on the music before the police arrived, one of the officers still asked him to turn it down further. And with a sickeningly phony nice guy put on, he said to the officer, "Sure, no problem." This too was obviously part of the orchestrated plan to evict us that has been in the making for a long time. An evil plan that is, with the help of Michael, using Myra as a witness to our eviction. When in actuality, Myra was the one who needed to be evicted a long time ago, and Jay could have done so 10 times over already. We pointed out to Jay a long time ago. If one considers what these people have been so comfortable doing on camera, it shouldn't take too much to imagine what they would be ready to do off camera. But like everything else we tried to tell Jay, he saw it as something to use against us, not for us. Moreover, one reason Jay is making his move to evict us now is that he knows Terry is more vulnerable. And all the times we explained to him that Terry cannot afford additional stress were something he saw as an opportunity to capitalize on. Another disturbing irony is that after all the accusations about safety and danger that Jay and the rest of the collective claim we have subject them to, in reality, we are the ones who have been put and remain in danger by them. The multitude of thick-skinned demented lies has already proven that these people have no boundaries, and they are obviously capable of spontaneously fabricating and or intentionally manufacturing an event that could easily result in a situation with very serious consequences and or ramifications. For example, as I mentioned before, I could simply be in the laundry room and Myra or company, including supporters, could attack me. And not only could I get hurt, but also be charged for assault if they claimed I attacked them. And God help me, if in a struggle to defend myself, one of them accidentally gets hurt. With absolute certainty, Eric would support any such hideous lies, as would others, such as Stacy, who is very vindictive, and Steve, who needs to be part of something and sucks up to Eric. As it is, in Matt's sworn affidavit, he references Jose, his husband, who said he saw me stalking the workers who were working in one of the vacant units. The workers in this unit were installing a hardware floor after the former tenant was recently evicted. About 10 minutes before the time Jose was referencing, I had simply asked the workers a question about the hardware floor being installed. And although it should have been obvious to anyone that I was dealing with another issue related to Myra, Jose took the liberty to accuse me of stalking the workers. In his affidavit, Matt accused us of banging on their wall to quiet them down. This is one of many examples of how what has been done to us is twisted around and claimed we're doing it to them, when again, in fact, we are the ones who have suffered greatly from that, with Myra banging on our wall at all hours of the day and night. And we have ample videos of this, some of which we will post in a later video. And after Myra has accused us of bleaching her laundry, the group is now accusing us of bleaching their laundry too. Also, according to Stacy's sworn affidavit, a tenant, likely Maggie, called her and said we were standing by her car. So she went out to see if her car was locked and if we had keyed it again. What Stacy has intentionally left out is that our carport is next to hers. So our car is parked next to hers in the cramped spaces that this building has. This too shows how much they're struggling to fabricate something against us, and that they are even ready to make up disturbing lies while we are in our own carport, getting in and out of our own vehicle. One would think that with cell phone videos, dash cams, and all their constant monitoring of us, the law of average would have, by now, allowed them to produce at least one piece of proof. But then again, why should they bother with proof when they can be comfortable with the idea that several lies will suppress the truth? And with all the monitoring from these people, including Stacy and Maggie's claims about how we have keyed their cars several times, there was never any mention about how those knife marks got on Myra's door. In any event, all of these accusations and others echo what Myra has said. On 1/24/26, while I was entering our building, I noticed Myra and Michael were doing something that seemed unusual at their door. If it had been someone normal, in a different environment, without so much disturbing history, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. However, in the past several months, Myra was starting to do a lot of things that made us believe she was preparing to file another restraining order against Terry or I. And my first thought and concern was they were trying to falsify evidence against us again, especially given how they could not only count on none of the neighbors saying anything, but also even testifying as witnesses that we had done something to Myra's door. And this time I felt it was necessary to catch them in the act, if that was what they were doing. After a bit, I noticed that they were drilling a hole through the wall near her unit's door to install a doorbell security camera. Not too long before this, Jay said he might make us take down our doorbell security camera because we were not allowed to make alterations to the building. Jay knows that our doorbell camera, which also has audio, is the only thing we have that gives us any practical protection because people lie, but audio and video doesn't. And since I had already started recording, I figured if Jay decided to use that reason to force us to take down our camera, I would at least be able to show that Myra drilled through the wall by her unit's door when installing her camera. Myra installed two cameras that day, one of which was the doorbell camera, aiming it as much towards our unit as the base of the camera allowed. The other a window camera. A couple of days later, Michael started walking around the building wearing the same type of body cam he and Myra had forced me to use. In this post, I will show four videos. One of Michael from different angles, showing him glaring at me and making a remark about us acting crazy. Two, a video of Michael's blasting music. Three, a video of the neighbor acknowledging the loudness of the music. And four, a video from that day of when Eric talked to the police after seeing them come to our unit and asking them to talk to him after they finished talking to us. Thanks for watching, and I hope you continue.
Neighbors acting a little crazy.
Is that her place? Blasting like
Yes, we live with that all the time.
I'll call management right when I get back upstairs. Right, that's what we're here for. No, 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 it's an infinite time, for anybody, or whatever. Right, I understand that, but when I was here, they did it, why are you calling? Why are you calling for that? Because I called the guy. Yeah. No, I get that.
Yes, ma'am.
So for starters, could we have a
Yeah.
for the starters,
Mhm.
coming in for the